10, 20, 54, 104, 145 and 245. This is not a cricket scorecard. This is Donald Trump's tariffs on China. It began with a 10% levy in February. It now stands at 245%. I'll repeat that for you. The US has increased tariffs on China to 245%. The White House announced it yesterday, though this time with less fanfare. No grandstanding by the press secretary, no all-caps post on Truth Social. Instead, this announcement was sneaked into a White House fact sheet. And the reason for this hike? Because China retaliated. Trump says 75 countries have reached out to him. They want to strike a deal with the US, but China has not reached out. Instead, they have imposed a 125% tariff on the US. So what does Trump do? He hikes it again to 245%. The White House says the ball is now in China's court.
Look, the president has made his position on China quite clear, although I do have an additional statement that he just shared with me in the Oval Office. The ball is in China's court. China needs to make a deal with us. We don't have to make a deal with them.
Forget the ball. There is no court left to play in. A 245% tariff is not a pressure tactic or a retaliation. It is simply an ego move. You just heard the press secretary. She says that China needs to make a deal with the US, not the other way around. China should be the one making the deal. So clearly, the White House wants a deal with China. They just want Beijing to make the first move. The question is, how will China respond? Beijing had ruled out further tariff hikes last week. They said anything more than 125% is a joke. That is China's tariff on the US, 125%. They will not hike it further. As for talks, China is open to it. They have appointed a new trade envoy for negotiations, but only on the basis of mutual respect.
If the U.S. truly wants to resolve the issue through dialogue and negotiation, it should stop its practice of maximum pressure and cease with threats and blackmail. Instead, it should engage in talks with China on the basis of equality, mutual respect, and reciprocity.
Let me recap that for you. The US wants China to pick up the phone and call Donald Trump, but China is saying, stop the bullying. Lift the tariffs first, and then we can talk. Like I said, it's an ego battle. Neither side wants to appear weak, and Trump is going the extra mile. The tariffs are just one part of his strategy. He's piling the pressure on his allies too. A top Trump official has issued an ultimatum to Europe. He wants Brussels to pick between American and Chinese technology, specifically communications technology. Let me give you the background here. Elon Musk's Starlink is trying to enter the European market, but a lot of countries are apprehensive. They do not like his meddling in European politics, nor do they like his president's tariffs, the US president's tariffs. So what does the US do? It issues a Bollywood-style ultimatum. Either pick us or the Chinese. Let me quote what US officials said. If you're concerned about Starlink, just wait for the Chinese Communist Party's version, then you'll be really worried. Now, to be fair, he does have a point. The problem is the Americans are also unreliable. It's like a rerun of the Cold War. Back then, the Americans had the same attitude. You're either with us or against us. And Trump is reviving that Cold War approach. It's bad news for America's trading partners. Until now, the trade war was limited to the US and China, but now Trump is taking it beyond those arenas. He is asking other countries to publicly choose. And China knows this. They know that many countries are rethinking their partnership with the US, so they're trying to cash in. And China's strategy has been twofold. The first is to attack the US. No diplomacy or outreach, just full-on wolf warrior attacks. China's state media is taking the lead here. Let me quote from their recent piece. This was published in a Chinese mouthpiece. The US is not getting ripped off by anybody. The problem is the US has been living beyond its means for decades. It consumes more than it produces. The US should stop whining about itself being a victim in global trade and put an end to its capricious and destructive behavior. Now, this approach has a clear motive: to present China as a challenger to the US, as the only country standing up to Donald Trump. Which brings us to the second part of China's strategy, reaching out to partners. Xi Jinping is on a tour of Southeast Asia. He has visited Vietnam and Malaysia already. His next stop is Cambodia. Do you know what's common between these countries? All of them face steep tariffs from Donald Trump. So Xi Jinping is swooping in as a savior, as a wise statesman who is taking on Donald Trump. Listen to what he said.
We must uphold the multilateral trading system, keep global industrial and supply chains stable, and maintain an international environment of openness and cooperation.
How about that? China is preaching cooperation and openness. On most days, it would sound absurd. But then you look at Donald Trump and you think, maybe not. The US is squandering its goodwill across the world and by extension, playing into China's hands. This is a clash between the art of the deal and the art of war. Let's see how it unfolds.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.